When we look at the craft at a systemic level, things start to get very, very difficult. And I say that because we're looking across the ways of working across large groups of people, large organizations, and how does that happen and how do we influence it? How do you participate in that? And what your long-term impact can be. Um, when we talk about the craft in this way, we're almost forced by default to talk about another symbol in that conversation, and that is the temple. The craft builds the temple. That's kind of the way it works, right? When workmen get together, they build against an objective. That objective and what that is should be designed in some way to enhance the quality of life of all people. When we look at the craft at a systemic level, the interaction of the craft as concept with that overarching sort of work, piece of work, becomes our purview. We have to look at how we as a crew of people are creating the future we're looking to build, and what does that mean for how we operate. You then work backwards through the levels. What does this mean for how I interact with the people in my small group or local group? And then how do I practically and behaviorally apply that understanding to myself? Each of these symbols, across the scope of this work, does have that kind of recursive nature to it. So you will go from a systemic kind of view back to a relational, back to a behavioral. And this symbol, the craft as a concept, will really help with that. If you struggle with trying to figure out when and how to do this, moving up and down through the craft as a developmental sort of structure, or as a scope structure more accurately, will help you again better craft more meaningful outcomes here. So again, when we look at this systemically at this level, we're looking to evaluate where we're going, how we're going to get there, who's going to be involved, and what needs to be in place. And so we're really talking about the human component of that is inseparable from the work itself, that humans have to interact, and maybe in the future, non-humans, et cetera. But we're really looking for, again, what are the interoperative elements to make our temple, our dream, a reality. And again, at this systemic level, what can we do to set the stage, not just for the current iteration of the craft, the current sort of workmen, but all future workmen on the temple. We are in a multi-generational organization, and we need to prepare the road, not just for ourselves, but for the people that come ahead of us or after us. So with that, think about the craft at that systemic level, and I think you'll find it yields quite a bit of perspective and altitude, so that you can then walk back in through the other sort of developmental levels and figure out how to best leverage the organization at your local level, and then coordinate your own behavior.